Welcome back to Victory Drive, everyone. This episode, we have on a good guy, real good guy, named John Stallone. Aside from having a badass fucking name, like Stallone, he's also an outdoor writer, wildlife conservation advocate, hunting guide, and also the host of a podcast called Days in the Wild. He's an awesome guy that I really enjoyed talking to. He does a lot of stuff with Howl for Wildlife, and if you guys haven't heard of Howl for Wildlife, he's really getting out there and pushing that conservation message with Howl for Wildlife. They're really cool conservation organization, really interesting group of people. They're really out there on the front lines. They make it super easy to get involved, get your voice heard on these important issues. Like the most famous one is probably the Colorado Wolf ballot box initiative that they were vehemently fighting against. So they do a lot of stuff other than just that, but they are really on the front lines in, I guess, for lack of better terms, lobbying for the hunting community and trying to be that voice of reason against certain, especially ballot box initiatives that are really headed by non-hunters and anti-hunters mostly. So really important organization, really cool organization, and something that we really can't overlook. I know it's pretty easy to get comfortable in the outdoor lifestyle that we all like to live, but just know that if we don't fight for it, then it's not out of the realm of possibility that it will go away. We see that time and time again. The gun industry, or the gun side of things, the 2A issues, they're constantly on the attack, trying to take, and it's not beyond the realm of comprehension that it could also be hunting privileges and stuff of that nature. The anti-hunting groups are very strong, very powerful, and they're all very rank and file. So they fight together, and it's tough because they're always on the offensive. So we need to stay ahead of the game, stay ahead of these anti-hunting organizations, and fight against them constantly. And John Stallone is doing just that. And so is Howl for Wildlife. So if you guys haven't checked them out, check them out. Go ahead and pause this episode if you want. Check out Howl for Wildlife, then come back to this episode, restart it, and listen to what John and I have to say. If anyone knows me, I do have my own personal apprehensions about certain conservation groups, and I'll talk more about that stuff later at a later date. But it's just, from what I can see, Howl for Wildlife, they're doing good things, and they're truly out there for us, like fighting for our rights and our heritage to go outdoors and hunt and fish and do all those things. So I believe it's a very important organization to kind of look at and maybe get behind if you can throw them a few bucks, or even if you can't throw them a few bucks, just sign up for their newsletter. They will keep you up to date on all the important political issues and laws and all that good shit going into place. And they make it super duper easy once you sign up. They send you emails, and you just click on what you want to support and what you want to fight against, something that tickles your fancy. You go on there, and they have emails on there that you fill out, and they automatically distribute that email that you type up after all the prompts and all that good stuff. They send them out to the appropriate representatives to let your voice be heard. So it's a pretty awesome thing. Hope you guys enjoy it. John Stone's a great guy. I had a blast talking with him. And now on to the partners of Victory Drive Podcast. As always, Victory Drive is brought to you by Grizzly Coolers. Like I said, number one, hard side coolers in the game. I feel like by far my opinion, not fact, but I think everyone would agree with me, so it's basically fact. They are seriously killing it with the hard side coolers, and everyone knows them for that. Drinkware, severely underrated drinkware. They have really good drinkware, and their soft side coolers are absolutely fucking spectacular. They have sweet rollaways, backpack carrying soft side coolers, all sorts of good stuff. So go check out Grizzly Coolers, and when you find something that tickles your fancy there, use code WCB for 15% off. That is WCB for 15% off. All right. And on to the next one is Black Ovis. Black Ovis, they newly signed on with Victory Drive, and I think it's a partnership that just makes sense. A bunch of good guys over there at Black Ovis, and like I've said, they really do have the best pricing for any of the outdoor equipment that they do carry. And actually, matter of fact, they have a huge sale going on right now. So if you get on your little phone, type in blackovis.com and check out their gear, there's a lot of stuff on sale. Just hit the little 3 lines up in the top right corner. If you're looking at your phone, everyone knows what that means, and it pulls a thing. Go to on sale, click on whatever you want to see that's on sale. I was just scrolling through a little bit and looking at the optics stuff that they have. They got, just on the optics side, they got Stone Glacier spotting scope pocket. They've got Stone Glacier Skyline rangefinder pocket. They've got some rifle scope bubble level. They've got all sorts of cool shit. Swarovski ATX, STX, BTX stay on case for the objective only. They've got just all sorts of good shit. They've got a Leupold Freedom 1x34 millimeter red dot sight for $215, which is usually $279. But most importantly, this is the one that really caught my eye. They have a Leupold RX 2800 TBR with 7 power laser rangefinder. It's normally $649. They've got it on sale for $462. So if you're into stuff like that, really awesome, excellent gear for the best prices you're going to find, and also continually doing awesome sales on all sorts of different shit, check out Black Ovis. And if you want to save even more money, you can use code VICTORY at checkout. That is code VICTORY, 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 at checkout of Black Ovis. And also, we've got Mountain Ops. If you guys want to stop getting fat, go get yourself some awesome supplements from Mountain Ops. Great people behind that company as well. I currently just bought some new Yeti Mode, the higher end pre-workout, and I went into the gym today, did squats, back squats, and I PR'd. No big deal. I can't say it was exactly Mountain Ops that did it, but it certainly fucking helped. Waking up at 4:30 in the morning to get up and get to the gym by 5. A little boost-a-roo doesn't hurt to roo, that's for sure. And I also use their creatine. So that's just what I personally use, and obviously Ignite and Hydrate. Those are 2 mainstays that I use pretty much every day just to get through the work day and stay hydrated and stay on top of my game. And when you find some shit that you like on Mountain Ops, use code VICTORY there as well. That's code VICTORY, VICTORY, Victory. Just like it sounds, honestly, Victory. Like the name. So, yep, save some money there, guys. Also, I want to touch on Wyoming Bear Camp that we have coming up. It's full, so sorry, but we always got next year. So if you guys are interested in Wyoming Spring Bear Camp, let me know for next year. We'll start getting you locked in once deposits and all that good shit are in. Africa, we don't have every slot filled for Africa. So if you guys want to get going to Africa, that's August 26th through September 3rd. Fucking great camp there. Awesome camp vibes. Great hunting. Best hunting you could ever really ask for, with some amazing animals that you never will see here in America, unless maybe you go to a high fence ranch in Texas or something. They've got a few of them there, but awesome camp vibe. And I know the trip's long. I know it's hard. I know it's kind of spendy. But seriously, guys, it's a trip of a lifetime. And I know if you go, you're going to want to go again eventually. So get there while you can. It's August 26th through September 3rd. Still taking hunters for that. And just hit me up on Instagram or Facebook or whatever and ask me about pricing and all that good shit. I can get you hooked up with Stuart Pringle, and we can go from there. It's going to be a great time. So hope to see some of you guys in Africa. And that's about it. Wrap that bad boy up. I'm getting ready to go to Mexico for a family vacation. So we'll keep this a little nice and short and sweet for you guys. So I hope you guys really enjoy this episode. And I guess we'll see you next week. right. John Stallone. How are you doing, man?
Can't complain. Well, nobody listens to me when I complain anyway, so. Actually, I complain a lot. That's my favorite thing to do. Those people who know me the best know, like, if I'm not complaining, something's actually wrong.
Oh, yeah. You just shut down when something's actually wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's funny. So you want to give us just a quick backstory on yourself and what you do and kind of all that good stuff?
Sure.
Awesome.
Man, there's kind of a lot to unpack there, but I'm a lifelong hunter. Been hunting since I'm 5. I'm 47 now, almost 48. I am the Vice President for Howl for Wildlife. For the purpose of this podcast, we'll probably be talking about that mostly. But I've worn a lot of hats in the industry. I've had a TV show. I'm a podcast host myself. I've been podcasting, as far as I know, longer than anybody else in the hunting space since 2004.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so I'm one of the OGs.
So, yeah, that's a long-ass time.
Yeah, exactly. I've been a writer. I've authored a few books, The Secrets of Hunting Western Game, The Whitetail Hunter's Blueprint. I've written for magazines. Been all over it, radio.
Yep.
You mentioned it. I've probably done it. I'm an avid bow hunter. I do enjoy rifle hunting. And I don't really have a specific species that I absolutely love, or one more than the other anyway, I should say. I love hunting everything. I'm kind of a generalist. And I love hunting everywhere. I'm kind of like an adventure hunter. What drives me is the adventure of it. I like to see what's over there versus over here.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely more of like a let's go somewhere different kind of guy. When you're talking to units and stuff like that, you just like to get around.
Yeah, I say that. I mean, I have my spots that I continually frequent, but I always like to have at least 1 or 2 hunts a year that are new.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go back to my old stomps and I go to South Dakota every year. I go to New York every other year. Of course, I hunt here in my home state of Arizona. But I typically will bounce around, and I'll go a couple years in one state, and then I'll go a couple years in another state, and just kind of learn new things and see new things. And even though the species might be the same, there's always a little difference, going from state to state, region to region. So,
yeah, for sure. That's one thing that I'm really big on myself too, is just getting out and getting around and just seeing new things. That's why I went to Africa for the first time. It'll be 2 years ago now.
Nice.
Gonna go back this year, and it's just one of those things. Like, I just really want to go out and see all sorts of different stuff and have all sorts of different experiences as well. Like, I love, but it is really nice, kind of coming back. And I guess I look at it almost like a sports thing, right? Where you go to like a place like Africa, or you go to, I live in Iowa, so going to like Wyoming or Idaho or Colorado, it's like those are like all away games, and those are awesome and they're fun, and they're all so much fun in their own right, for sure. But it is really nice coming back and conducting your home games, and like going places that you're familiar with, especially when it comes to whitetails and stuff in the Midwest. But,
yeah, I've yet to hunt Iowa. I want to. I've been meaning to. I just haven't. I haven't put it together yet. There's a few Midwest states that I haven't hunted yet that I really. Kansas, Iowa, and I haven't been to Nebraska. I think I've done everything else.
Yeah, those are 2 bucket list states I want to hunt too. Is Nebraska and Kansas really bad. Yeah. What are you putting in? Do you have points for Iowa?
I do.
Do you? Okay.
I have several points. Yeah, I think
several points.
6 or 7. Yeah. I got a lot.
Oh yeah, you can draw damn near any county you want or any zone you want. Then
I know, but I'm afraid not to put in. Like I haven't applied for an actual tag. I just keep applying for the bonus point. So yeah, I know. I got to do it.
Do you not do well with rejection, John?
No, I'm fine with rejection.
Okay,
I'm fine with rejection. I'm not
good with rejection.
I just keep the problem that I've been having lately in the last like 5 years or so, with going to the Midwest states is that usually typically the best time to go is sometime in early November.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's the case in Iowa, but typically that's how it's been. Like I used to go to Illinois and Missouri all the time, and I haven't been because I guide in South Dakota for 15 days. And it's really tough for me to get back from a 15-day stint and say, honey, I'm going here. So, November is pretty much shot for me now because I keep and I don't want to not go to South Dakota because one, it's awesome hunting for me. I potentially may stop guiding there so that I could, or at least for a year, still go for myself, but then I can go for 6 days. And then I could go 6 days somewhere else, break it up. Instead of spending all that time in one state. So that's sure. That's what I need to do, which I don't think is going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen this year because we're going to be giving away one of my mule deer hunts in South Dakota.
Cool.
For the people who are joining Howl for Wildlife. So we might as well tell your, I think by the time, I don't know when you plan to release this podcast, but we should have there's going to be a special membership that when you join, it's going to kind of like act as your entry for that hunt. It'll be pretty, I don't know what the odds will be, but it'll probably be one of the best odds to get a fully outfitted mule deer hunt. So we're gonna have that. It's gonna be one of the focal points. We're gonna be at the Hunt Expo in Salt Lake City, which is Mule Deer Foundation puts on. It's a big show, and that we're gonna kind of like release it there, but we'll actually have it up on the website too here coming up shortly. I think in the next week or so.
Awesome. Do you want to go over that real quick and just do you have the dates like the end date out
for the hunt itself?
For the competition or the giveaway.
Yeah, so I don't know when we're actually going to let people know who won, but I think we should have that up the first week of February, and it'll go for a couple months, and then we'll close and make the drawing. I don't know when we're going to let people know who's won or who hasn't won, but
okay,
it's a 13. The value is $13,800 hunt. The entry is, I believe, going to be $100. And the proceeds are going, to Howl for Wildlife's efforts, and we'll get into that, what we're doing and stuff. But it's meals, lodging, the tag and taxidermy is not included, but meals, lodging, guiding, and we're actually going to be filming the hunt. So you will have you'll have a if you want to see some of the quality of some of the films that I've done in the past, just look up John Stallone on YouTube or whatever, and you can take a look at some of that stuff. But you'll have a full video, and myself and Charles Whitwam, who's one of my best friends and the president of Howl for Wildlife, will be the guides on that. We're usually the guides in South Dakota too. So, but
that's badass. Yeah, just let me know kind of when I can make sure I get this episode released. In that time frame for sure. Because that sounds like a really good deal. Because I did this thing a while back. Is Hunt Wars. Is kind of the same concept. Where you put in $100 gets your name in the hat, and then they draw names out of a bucket and whatever else, and you go on this. It's a YouTube hunting show competition with average people. So I did that. I got drawn for that in season 2 and did a pronghorn hunt.
Nice.
And that was badass. But it's not, it's kind of like $100. Some people look at that and like, oh man, $100 is $100. Like that's kind of crazy. But I was talking to my wife about it. We both kind of decided, we spent $100 on way dumber shit before, so we might as well put it in for something like that.
If you only knew,
same concept with you, with this,
if you only knew how much money I put out a year in just tag applications and whatever. If my wife knew, forget about it. I'd be in trouble. I'd have to buy more of the Louis Vuitton bags.
I spend like I don't know, it's probably close to $200 just in Wyoming preference points. So it's like, that all adds up. Then you have a tag cost on top of that if you whenever you do draw and all that stuff. But put in $100 for something like this, and plus I'm assuming it's going to help fundraise for Howl for Wildlife. So it's like not only can you put in for that, and if you lose, then it's still going to a good cause kind of thing. So you can still feel good even if you don't get drawn. So
exactly. Well, and here's the thing: you're going to get the membership too. So our base normal membership is $30, but you're going to, for $100, you're going to have this membership. You're going to have your $30 membership, and there's going to be a couple other prize giveaways, but that I'm not 100% sure about throughout the year of the people that joined with that membership. So there still might be an opportunity that you can win something that'll be product oriented, but I don't know. That all depends on our partners this year. So, but
yeah, for sure. I mean, especially in the outdoor space and hunting space, it seems like companies are really willing to work with you, especially when it comes to stuff like that and fundraising for a good cause and all that good stuff. So I feel like, companies are in the out hunting space are usually pretty generous when it comes to that kind of stuff, I think.
Yeah. The whole fundraising thing's it's a bear, to have to constantly do that. We're actually trying to come up with mechanisms so that we don't have to do that, because part of what our problem is, and we might as well jump into it now, but part of what's going on is the other side, the anti-hunting establishment, is super well funded, super organized. They're in lockstep on everything. And they almost, like HUSIS, that's Humane Society of the United States, acts as like a main hub for all these other little tendrils that come off of it, like Wildlife Forever and, the Coyote Project and this and that. There's so many different entities that kind of feed off of HUSIS and their mission. But they get in lockstep together on every single issue. We see the same bad actors at every game and fish committee meeting, or commission meeting, every committee meeting, anything that's bill oriented, or if there's a open comment period, it's always the same people from the other side getting involved.
Yeah, dude, you see that all over the place. And me with Victory Drive and stuff, especially, like I grew up as a gun guy more than anything, and loving guns, and just that has always been like my thing, and past few years I've gotten into archery. Obviously I love bow hunting as well, but my passion has always been in like the gun sphere of things, and that's a constant thing with the antis on the gun side too. It's the same type of person. It seems like the antis they're always so like you said, in lockstep with each other, and they have their messaging down pat and all this other stuff. I almost feel like, and don't mind my gross generalizations here, but it's like generalizing, the antis are generally of the political left, and the hunting community is generally of the political right, and it seems like in that sphere as well. It's just like
that it is that way, but I don't.
Well,
I don't
that's
think
what I'm generalizing.
Yeah,
well,
there's
that's
actually
why I said
quite a
don't
few.
mind my gross generalizations, but
there's quite a few. I think in both spaces, but I'll speak for the hunting community because I know that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of Democrat hunters.
Oh, for sure,
and,
a lot. You see that with like Ryan,
but it's
Ryan
not.
Buss, like
yeah, it's not what you think. See, the problem is, well, I mean, without getting vastly into politics here, with this country is that we only have these two political distinctions. You're either Republican or you're Democrat, and the problem is most of us are somewhere in between, right? And you might fall on the left side of the line for, some mainstream things like whatever, I don't know, pro-choice, so one of those things like that. So you vote Democratic, or you feel like, like you want to help human rights stuff, so you vote Democratic or whatever the case may be. And then the same goes for the Republican side, like, you're a 2A guy, or you're, whatever the case may be. But the fact of the matter is, the majority of us, if we had to categorize ourselves, we probably wouldn't be on really either. Like I have a lot of conservative, like most of my political views, I guess, are aligned with the conservative side. But I'm not on the far right, I'm not on the far right by any means. That would I vote for Trump? Yeah, I would vote for Trump because he's the lesser of two evils. But I don't think that right now anybody that's running for president on either side of the fence really is very great. But and I don't think it's not that I don't think Donald Trump is a great president. Like, he did good things, but he's so polarizing, and he pisses so many people off that people will cut off their nose to spite their face.
Yep.
Just so he won't be in office, and it's not good.
Right.
It's not good for the country. Like, he's got zero bedside manner, and when you're a politician, you kind of got to be able to do those things, right? Like, you can't.
Right.
It can't be just bull in a china shop all the time. There's a time for that, but there's also a time to be, politically correct, I guess. Because you're a politician, you have to wear kid gloves with certain things. And, that's my view on it. Take it with a grain of salt, but yeah.
I totally agree. And that's kind of what I was getting at when I was kind of trying to get to that point with the generalizations and stuff, is if you had to take a poll, I feel like if you had to take a poll, over half, I'd say most of the hunters would fall in the political right if you had to take a vote. But what I was getting at is the majority of people, it's the silent majority, and those are the people that are in the middle. Right. They're not loud, they're not boisterous. They just want to do their thing and be left alone for the most part. And whether that you lean left or lean right, it's those people that are in the middle that always get overlooked when it comes to advocacy of any type and all that stuff. It just seems like there's more advocacy when you're talking in hunting realm, there's more advocacy, rank and file members on the anti side, because it's kind of hard to get hunters and stuff to really get amped up and, go to these meetings and all this other stuff and really be loud. Because it's like you want a lot of guys, especially, they kind of pride themselves on being like, like the silent, especially in the hunting world, it's like the silent killers and stuff like that. You want to be, you're not trying to, you're sharing your stories and all that other good stuff. We're generally pretty good at that. But when it comes to actual advocacy and boots on ground advocacy, it's really hard to get a lot of people to fall in line. That's one thing I do, because I've been following Howl for Wildlife for quite a while. And that's one thing I love about your guys' group, is that you make it easy. make it pretty damn easy to let your voice be heard when it matters.
Yeah, that was the goal. We wanted to create the easy button for people. We wanted to remove as many obstacles as possible. Because I know even in my life, it's like, okay, I have X amount of time and I got to be choosy as to where I use that time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you tell me I can go and do this much good and it take me less than a minute to do it, more than likely I'm going to do it. But if you tell me, hey, go contact your legislator, A, who the hell is that? You know, B, does that person have anything to do with this particular piece of policy that we're looking at? And C, how do I get that information to him? And what do I say? You know?
Yep.
So.
Yep. Because I get off work, you know, and I go home and I, you know, kiss my family and hang out with my kids and do all this other stuff and yada yada yada. And the next thing you know, it's bedtime for me and I got to wake up early and, you know, go to the gym or just go to work or do whatever I need to do. The last fucking thing I want to do in my free time is, oh shit, that's right, I need to contact my representative and let them know like that this wildlife policy sucks and I don't agree with it, or it's awesome and I do agree with it. You know, either one.
Right.
The last thing I want to do with my free time is talk to a fucking politician, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
no, I mean, nobody really does. Like, I mean,
mm-hmm.
I'm in this space and I really would like not to have to if I didn't have to.
Yep.
And no fault of theirs, you know, not that it's just another thing to do, man. It's like,
Yep.
you know, hunters and anglers, you know, we typically have the mindset and you kind of said it, don't impose your life choices on me and I won't impose my life choices on you. We just kind of keep to ourselves, you know, and I think it's a great way to live normally. But however, you know, the anti-hunters don't make it easy for us. And we have to be activated. We have to be involved and take it to the next level because we live in a different world now. You know, I think part of the problem is, you know, we have that mindset that you and I just discussed, but two, also like, and I don't know how old you are, but when I was younger and I went to get my hunter's ed, we were taught in hunter's ed, you know, be quiet about hunting, don't talk to people about hunting, don't display the deer, you know, basically like operate in the shadows, you know, so we've had this generation or a couple of generations that's the way we worked. That's the way we operated. And it wasn't because we're doing something shady. We just didn't want to offend people. We didn't want to put it out there. So, you know, we were able to continue to do what we're doing. But now we live in an age where everything, like you can't even go, you know, pick your nose in the corner without somebody taking a picture of you or videoing you and putting it on social. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't do anything without somebody else knowing, like to some extent. I mean, that's a little exaggerated, but we're in this space.
Not too far off.
We're in this space. And like, so, you know, back in the day, we would take our deer in the back of the truck. We would bring it to, you know, the coffee shop to show all the guys there, whatever. That was social media. Like now you you post a picture and you mean it for other people who enjoy that to see it, but that isn't always the case. And
also your pictures, you put your pictures on like the Bass Pro wall or something like that, or Cabela's wall. You wouldn't put it in a fucking PETA store. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't post your pictures, your, you know, truck bed pictures at the Humane Society or stuff like that. You know, people that don't agree, you'd stay in your echo chamber. And that was it was preached when I was younger too. It's like, hey, you know, we just stay quiet and do our thing and yada, yada. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Where you post it, it's completely different than taking a picture, getting it developed and putting it on the wall at Cabela's and, you know, taking a picture and putting it online for literally everyone to see if they want to and have an opinion about it. You know, like if people walked into Cabela's, looked at the wall and they go, oh, that's a shitty picture. That'd be it. And they'd move on their way. But now that's on the internet, you'd put, imagine if at Cabela's, there was a thing you walk through Cabela's back in the day, and there was like an option to put sticky notes, and not like you'd write on sticky notes like, hey, put a sticky note on the pictures that you like or dislike, kind of thing, and you can write whatever you want on it. Like, that'd be crazy, Yep. But that's literally what social media is now, where it's like you're putting it out there, and people can just put their sticky notes all over your picture and say that you're terrible or you're awesome, either one. Yeah. But the comments that get the most traction are the ones when they're trashing you. Yeah. So.
Well, and that's what happens is like you don't realize how the algorithm works too. Like at first it starts with the hunting community, right? You put something out there and then some hunters will put some negative comments there or whatever. Oh, why'd you shoot? That thing still has milk on its lips, or, some stupid ass comment. Or, actually I got a very good example that I want to use, but let's finish this line of thought here. Mm-hmm. They put it out there, and now it opens it to the next level of people on their followers. So we all have followers, and we all have people that follow us on social media that are not exactly aligned with us, right? We all have that Aunt May or whatever who is against hunting, but she loves you, but she's going to say something, and now she says something, and it opens it up to all her friends, which opens it up to all her friends, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and eventually that's when things go viral, and now it's in front of anybody and everybody, whether they're hunting or not, and that's when stuff happens. And on that point, this is what I was going to bring up. Some years ago, I don't remember how many years ago now, it was 2 or 3 years ago, but there's and I'm going to use this example because this will give you or your listeners a way to deal with this situation. So there was a guy who posted a video of him running over a wild hog with his ATV. Like stupid ass shit, right? He'd run it over, the hog would get up and charge him again. He'd run it over, charge it again. Like the hog kept coming in, trying to charge him, and he kept running it over with and okay, I get it. You want your 15 minutes of fame. You put this outrageous video up there. Now, it started off with a bunch of his hunter friends and whatever making comments like, that's stupid, whatever the comments were. Some of them positive, a lot of them negative. But you want to say something negative to this guy, so you put a comment on there. And now what you're doing is you're promoting that video. The algorithm looks at that video and says, okay, this is relevant. People are talking about it. I'm going to put it out to more people. And I'm going to put it out to more people. So when you see something that is distasteful, when you see something as a hunter of somebody that's in our ranks doing something that is going to hurt hunting, instead of making a negative comment or disliking or whatever they're doing, send them a direct message, a DM that says, hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but this video might hurt hunting. It might hurt what we're doing. Consider taking it down. It's not worth whatever, 15 minutes of fame you're going to get from it, so on and so forth. And, one or two things is going to happen. 2, he's probably going to tell you to go F yourself, and he's not going to take it down. Or 2, he's going to listen, she's going to listen, and they're going to remove it. But what you're not doing is you're not promoting it. You're not helping it get to the next level.
Yep.
And that you got to keep that stuff in mind.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to, I think one question I ask some people when I see them post like pretty inflammatory stuff or something that I feel like maybe it would be harmful. It's like it's kind of ask the question, or before ask yourself the question too, before you post something that you feel like maybe could get taken out of context. Just have some self-reflection. Ask yourself, what am I trying to accomplish with this video or with this picture? It's like, what am I trying to accomplish here? Like, you want to have a goal, like something that you're like a goal that you're trying to accomplish with everything you post, especially in the hunting community, when you're taking the life of an animal, and that is a decision that shouldn't be taken lightly. Mm-hmm. And with the hog thing, it's like, obviously I they're a nuisance in a lot of places, and they the government, the state says eradicate them by any means necessary kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Especially in like southern states like Texas, you can shoot them with whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want. And that's for reasons, because they're overpopulated like a son bitch, and you need to start shooting some and killing some and get them off the landscape, and get them into some sort of controlled population. But that doesn't mean if you run it over with an ATV and stuff over and over, it's like, for one, it's like, why would you post something like that? Like, it's not the right thing to do, for one. But for two, it's like, even if you do end up doing something like that, like, why would you post that for everyone to see? Like, you should have hunters need to have a certain level of self-reflection. And is it fair? No, because the antis, they can basically get away with saying kind of whatever they want and being as inflammatory as they want. But that's their goal, is to draw out the worst in like us, so they can fuel their campaign a little bit more. And they're constantly on the search for shit like that, for videos like that, so they can use it for ammo against us.
Absolutely. So absolutely.
And I know it's like something that everyone says, you don't want to give ammo to the antis and all that other stuff. And it's 100% true, because it's one of those things where, you look away for, too long. And then when you look back, it's like, are we even in the same, are there things gone? Can you even recognize the landscape that you're in anymore? When things get whittled away so much, because it's not going to happen in one fell swoop. Like, no anti-hunting organization has ever like just come out and said, like, we're banning hunting, period. It's always started with, well, let's ban trapping. Let's ban these methods. Let's ban these other methods that are unethical. It's like, why do you need to trap animals and drown them in underwater, or use a body gripper and snatch them? And, it's so inhumane to do it that way. Like, we shouldn't be trapping anymore. Okay. So then they ban trapping. It's like, oh, and then the trapping community is even smaller than the hunting community. So then that gets taken away. Then it's like hound hunting. Oh, we shouldn't be running bears and mountain lions and stuff with dogs. That's unfair. Like, we shouldn't be doing that. That's not ethical. So then hound hunting gets banned. And then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, bow hunting, that's not very ethical. Like, shooting things with a pointy stick, like, that's not very good. Like, just use a rifle. Like, that's way more ethical. And then bow hunting gets banned. And then, oh, but now our gun, it's like, it's a really slippery slope. And if you look away for too long, before you know it, your way of life could be taken from you, and you don't even have a say in the matter.
Absolutely. Well, let me tell you, the writing's on the wall. They've actually come out and said it, that they want to get rid of, if they could, they would get rid of all hunting, period.
Right. If they had a magic wand, they would do that.
Yeah,
for
exactly. Sure. Now, realistically, is that going to happen? Probably not. But the reason why is because hunting, and I like to put it like this because it's a little polarizing to say it this way, but there's a lot of truth. But we're only around because of greed. And that is because the hunting is, the hunting community, there's an industry attached to it, a big industry. And like, if they waved their wand right now and hunting went away, it would actually cripple the United States economy.
Yep.
That's how big it is.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
$33 billion industry. So like, there's a lot of things and that aren't even counted in those figures of what hunting is. And I've used this example many times. There's a lot of people out there that if they didn't hunt and fish, they probably wouldn't own a pickup truck. They wouldn't own an ATV. And those are things that are not looked at when you're talking about hunting. Like there's a lot of things attached to hunting and the culture of hunting that don't get counted into the actual industry numbers. But anyway, that being said, they're still going to do their damnedest to limit as much hunting as possible. And they know that we follow the science. So their biggest tactic right now is, let's get rid of apex predator hunting. So lions, bears, wolves, coyotes, anything like that. Okay. So the management on those goes away. And by default, they're going to take more prey, animals, deer, elk, antelope, etc. So there'll be less need for hunters to take surplus of that because the apex predators are taking care of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple supply and demand.
Right. So that's their view. Now, it's a flawed view because they don't know, they don't have a good understanding of how, management works and biology works. And they're going to create these giant peaks and valleys and possible predator pits and all this other stuff. Like I tell people all the time that, anti-hunting is anti-wildlife. If they were to succeed, they would probably succeed in ruining wildlife. They have this, they have this theory, they have this thought process that if you just leave everything alone, it would, take care of itself. And that, that might have been true, a million years ago. Might have been true even a couple thousand years ago when there was, a few million people or less than 1 billion people in the world, but there's 8 billion of us. And not only is there so many more people, the way we consume, the way we use resources and the way we fragment, habitat and have roads everywhere and consume other natural resources and water and oil and wood and you name it. We have to. If we don't manage, all that is going to, because we literally you can affect wildlife by never setting foot in the woods ever in your life. The cell phone that you buy, the computer, whatever, just things you do in your urban life affects what happens in the natural world, whether you know it or not.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also, wild animals need wild places to live. They're not going to live in a concrete jungle, So who's defending all of these wild places for these animals to live in? It's generally hunters.
Yep.
And if they go away, then they're like, well, what's the fucking point of defending this if we can't even utilize it the way we kind of want to and all this other stuff? I know a lot of people that they only care about conservation because they're hunters, and it's a valid reason to care, but it's one of those things where if they weren't hunting, they wouldn't care as much. They'd find something else to do with their free time or something else. But it's like those wild places would go away eventually. Either they get lost to development or something, where they just kind of go away. And then you're talking about, like you already alluded to, basically the ending of these wildlife species that we hold near and dear to our hearts because we enjoy going out and chasing them every year, So if us hunters go away, then a lot of those resources also go away, and a lot of that money also goes away, So like not every forested area in the West and all these mountains and woodlands and stuff, they're not going to be protected. They're not all going to be Yellowstone. They're just not going to. It's not feasible for the federal government to protect all these places just to house these wild animals. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, even Yellowstone has its problems. If you don't think they've gone in there and shot things to get populations or capture them and transplanted them somewhere else, you're sadly misinformed.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
There's no utopia. So even if you want to plant a flag somewhere in that philosophy, Yellowstone would be it. And anybody who's ever been a wildlife biologist in Yellowstone will tell you that it's not that way.
No.
It's not all, the prey and predators live in harmony and in balance. Do you know how many people go through Yellowstone a year? Like, it's ridiculous amount, Like,
yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I do really want to get into, you touched on it a little bit earlier, how basically you want to call it ballot box biology, where they're not really taking actual science and using wildlife biologists in order to make decisions a whole lot in some places, and using apex predators to kind of take the place of human hunters. We're actively seeing that. Like, I'm not even anti-wolf or anything like that either.
I'm not either, but
talk to I love wolves. I think they're great. They should be on the landscape to a certain extent, but
as long as they can be managed.
Exactly. And talk to anyone in Idaho. When they brought wolves back into Idaho, the elk hunting and mule deer hunting and all that stuff went way down, took a drastic hit. And you're seeing it now in tag costs and opportunities for people, because it used to be Idaho was a very easy over-the-counter draw, or not even draw, just straight up over-the-counter for elk and mule deer and all that stuff. But they're starting to hack away at it, and it's starting with tag price increases. And they used to have this really cool disabled veteran program where you could get disabled veterans could get discount tags, but then they cut those by a shit ton too, because the elk numbers just aren't there to support the amount of hunting that was going into it. And that has a lot to do with the fact that there's a huge amount of wolves running on the landscape in Idaho. And talk to any Idaho hunter, resident hunter, they'll tell you this too. Like, the wolves are they're destructive. They're very destructive to the population, and it's definitely eating into hunters' opportunities. And I really do think there is a bit of a plan, especially with the antis. And when you look at Colorado, with them recently releasing wolves in Colorado, where it's like that has that they're looking at that as a thing of being like, well, we can whittle down hunting if we can get prey animal numbers down by introducing apex predators. Then that will definitely whittle away hunting, and it's just by itself. And I don't know. I'm sure I can assume your feelings on the whole Colorado wolf situation, but do you want to kind of dive in with your guys's,
sure,
your personal views, and then also like Howl for Wildlife and what you guys think about all that stuff?
Every sip of Coca-Cola brings you closer to the excitement of the FIFA World Cup 26. Because nothing compares to the joy. So grab a Coke and drink in the FIFA World Cup 26. No purchase necessary. 13 plus in 50 U.S. states and D.C. with a web-enabled device. Ends March 1st with 8 entry periods. Rules at CokeURL.com/soccer rules.
Well, I mean, if you want, let's talk about the wolves real quick. Okay, so we lost. That was a ballot box initiative. We lost that. Hunters and ranchers lost that by less than 1%.
Jeez.
Okay. And we are, as a group, hunters are very reactive and never proactive when it comes to these situations. Okay, we wait till things are hitting the ballot. Oh, well, it's time to go fundraise so we can talk to the non-hunting public and raise money so that we can win this. We will never win, ever. In those situations. Okay, I can't say ever because we have one here and there. But
right,
most of the time you will not win because you're not fighting the same battle. You're taking a knife to a gunfight. You're taking a knife to a bazooka fight.
Yeah,
and
it's an uphill battle, to put it nicely.
Yeah. So let's continue this on with Colorado. Like during that time. And I don't remember the exact number, so I'm going to give you an arbitrary number here because I'm not 100% sure what it was. But I think they raised like $800,000, which is peanuts in comparison. It's peanuts for what you need, number one, to do that type of marketing. And the marketing is this. This is what happens. So we might as well, let's back up a little bit. The non-hunting public occupies 90% of the population, approximately.
Mm-hmm.
And so the anti-hunters, they know if they go into places like Denver, Boulder, Colorado Springs, big urban areas where there's a lot of people, they can disseminate their propaganda, because that's what it is. They put messaging out there, little wolf puppies and cute and fuzzy, animals and all this stuff, and they sway the vote in their favor. And they have millions. So right now there is a potential that they're going to try to get rid of mountain lion, bobcat hunting. They put lynx on it too, but which is stupid because we don't hunt lynx. It's federally protected. But the 3 big cats in Colorado on a petition, and they are poised to spend, I believe they have probably somewhere around $20 million set aside for it.
Holy shit.
They're poised to spend $1 million a week to win this battle.
Jeez.
Okay. And I told you we got $800,000 last time. So this time we know that the petitions, they're still processed. There's a title board there that we just had some, and the title board basically is where they discuss what's the title of the actual bill. And they removed some language that was on there, which went in our favor because they had trophy hunting on there. As soon as you add trophy in front of anything hunting, let me back up just a little bit so I can explain this. So the non-hunting public, there's a 75% approval rating of people hunting for meat. Whether that's deer, elk, whatever. 75% of the population's cool with you going to hunt to procure meat. Oh my God, I can't speak. As soon as you add the word trophy in front of that same question, the approval rating goes down to like 20-something%.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you start talking about bears and lions, that approval rate goes down into the teens. I don't know the exact numbers for you. I wish I had them written in front of me, but I don't. So that to just give you an idea. So they know this. And that's another reason why they're also always going after bears and lions and apex predators and wolves and all this other stuff, because they know the approval rating of the middle ground is very high in their favor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's low-hanging fruit.
Exactly. So, they had the word trophy in the title, which would have been devastating to the hunting community. So that was removed. Dan Gates, which I strongly suggest you get on the podcast. He's a great guy and he's super, super knowledgeable, very well spoken. Can actually give you all the statistics, verbatim and kind of run you through the actual what's going on in Colorado. There's a history behind it. This is like the 4th time in the last 5 years that they've kind of gone after this. That's why if we put a stop now to it, this is their last avenue to take. If they lose here, then we probably won't see them in Colorado for a while. Going after this. Anyway, so what we're doing now specifically for that is we're fundraising now, even though we won't even know if they get enough signatures to get this into the ballot. If they do, they got from now till I think September or October. if we find out that it'll be on the ballot and like then, or might even be sooner than that. I can't remember exactly. That's not my cup of tea. But once it's on the ballot, if we waited till then to start fundraising, then we'd only have a couple of months. So we've already been fundraising, and I think last I heard we were at like 1.5 million, which was almost double what we had for the Wolves. And we still have, 6 months of fundraising to go, which is good.
That's great.
Our team is saying we needed somewhere between $3 and $5 million to accomplish what we want to accomplish, to put up a reasonable defense and win this. So, we still got a ways to go to get to that, but we're a lot better off than we were last time. And I said, like I said, we lost by less than 1%. It was 0.779, I think.
Jeez.
Percent on the Wolves.
Ugh.
And this is the problem, is that, going back to, we were talking about how hunters, keep to themselves and so on and so forth. When I first started doing this, and actually specifically when Charles and I first started Howl for Wildlife, we got a lot of slack because we were using the word being active and being activists. That's like a dirty word, especially for people who are Republican, because it's always been associated with the very far left,
Yep. Yeah, it's
I
gross.
can't tell you how many times we heard, that word that's what the libtards use and this and that, stupid shit. Like, no, if you care about something, you have to be actively advocating for it so that you can keep it,
Yeah.
And we're our own worst enemy, our own worst enemy by far. And if we're talking about the Wolves again, there is over a million hunters who are in the state of Colorado. Okay. If those million hunters all got out and voted, because guess what? We lost. It was like, I don't even remember what the numbers are, but I'm going to give you these arbitrary numbers. It was like 900,000 people voted voted against having wolves, and like 971,000 or whatever, something like that, voted against it. So you're telling me that less than the number of actual hunters in the state is what decided that wolves came back in. So if all the hunters got off their butts and went and voted against it, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Yep. Yeah, that's what really sucks. Like me with Victory Drive, being more on the gun side of things too, I've always said that I'm really trying to be, I guess, a progressive 2A advocate, where instead of like just constantly being on the defensive and waiting in silence and waiting for an attack against my way of life, I want to be proactively fighting for it, so like there's certain groups like, Firearm Policy Coalition, like they do a really good job at this too, where they're very proactive, where they're like, we're constantly attacking certain laws and trying to get them abolished in order to free up, gun ownership for more people, actively fighting for gun ownership rather than just waiting to defend. It's the same kind of thing with hunting, where we need to be actively proactive in fighting for hunting opportunities and all this other stuff. And we need to be more on the offensive, because a wrestling coach of mine told me the best defense is a good offense. And that's what the antis know. They know that, and they adhere to that to a T, where it's like, if we're constantly on the offensive, then they're going to be constantly on the defensive. And it's really hard to gain momentum when the other side has the momentum because they're the one mounting the attack.
Right.
So if we're actively fighting for hunting and for hunting opportunities, then it makes it a lot harder when it's constant, and especially if it's being shown in a good light and all this other stuff that, we've already talked about. It's like it gets more and more people in the middle. Maybe they don't even hunt. Maybe they don't care. They just don't know anything about it, and they have really no strong feelings for or against. But it's really, for those types of people, it's really whoever gets to them first is who's going to sway their decision making. And those are the people, when you're talking ballot box biology and stuff, especially, those are the people that really matter. We see it all the time in elections and other policies that get put forth. Is like the people in the middle that don't have any super hard feelings for or against. Those are the ones that really, really matter. And if we're going to be trying to defend our way of life, then we just need to be more on the offense and take opportunities to progress hunting and try to get more people in the middle that maybe don't actively hunt, or maybe they just hunt a little bit, whatever. Try to get them more or less on our side rather than throwing them off the wayside and focusing on ourselves and the hardcore hunters, and just focusing in our own little echo chamber, because I ain't going to do shit for the greater good, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what we need to do in our echo chamber is this. We need to start getting everybody on board with the idea that we're all in this together. We need to draw the lines or connect the dots so that you can understand why losing bear hunting in, Washington affects a guy in Iowa who deer hunts. And actually, if you need me to draw those lines, I'll draw them for you. Okay, so let's take that scenario. They lose bear hunting in Washington. There's a certain number of people, a certain number of hunters that's their thing. That's all they do is bear hunt. So you lose that sector of population. Okay. Now your voice has shrunk a little bit. Also, now that's all they did. They bear hunted. They owned guns. They bought ammo. They bought bows and arrows only to bear hunt. Now the funding for PR that they were spending goes away. The license sales goes away. All those things shrink your voice at the table. Okay? Now, I don't know what bear hunting looks like in Iowa, if there is any bear hunting in Iowa, but... Nope,
there's no bears.
Okay.
So.
If you had bears, they could potentially now come to your state to get bear, And, we're so interconnected with all these little things, and you don't realize it, but their job is to shrink. Right now, we're their main stakeholder at the wildlife or conservation table. Their job, or what they're trying to do, is to shrink that. And you want to take it even further. If you follow the money, talking about 2A, this is an avenue, and they get money from anti-2A people, and they grants from other organizations. This is a way to disarm the public.
Yes.
You're not going to hunt. You don't need a rifle. You don't need to buy that. So why do you need that? And most people, if you took away what they were doing, they'd probably be like, all right, yeah, whatever. I don't need my gun. I'm going to sell it. It's just going to sit there.
Yep.
So
that's
you got to
my
look.
number one pet peeve, by the way.
Yeah. You got to
when they use you don't need this kind of thing, so why should you have it? It's
right.
Like, fuck you.
Exactly. So, you got to look at it. It's not just the hunters in this. You got to look at it as the sportsmen and the shooting sports across, because we're all kind of interconnected. And we were already interconnected with the PR stuff, but now if you really look at it, one of our main footholds actually as a community to have guns is the fact that hunting requires them. And if you took away 16 million out of the 70 million, I don't know what percentage that is, but like,
substantial.
I'm going to do that right now. 70. Let's see, 16 divided by 70. That's almost 23%. 23% of your constituency. Okay, you lose 23% of people who are shooters or hunters. You're going to lose 23% of your voice. Think about how much harder it is for you if you're just a guy that likes to go shoot targets, is going to have when they come for what you want.
Yes. Yep. And that's the other thing too. Like that's why I love the space that I'm in right now, being, an avid hunter, but also a 2A advocate and a gun guy too. It's like when we, as hunters and sportsmen, we all love like the Pittman-Robertson Act. We're all like, oh yeah, that's great. Money going back to wildlife. But when you really break down the numbers of P&R money, over 90% of it comes from guns and ammo sales.
Yep.
And I would say the vast majority of that 90% aren't even fucking hunters, or maybe they are hunters, or maybe they're just recreational hunters, but a lot of it comes from the sport shooting side of things.
Yep.
And they're pumping money into our way of life, and they don't even partake in the activity. And that's great. That's such a strong partnership that we as hunters and sportsmen should really fully support. That's why I fucking hate when certain hunting groups or certain hunters or certain people talk about like, oh, well, we don't really need, like you were saying, we don't really need AR-15s and we don't really need 30-round magazines. We don't really need all this stuff. So I'm kind of indifferent. I don't really care if ARs get banned because I just hunt with a bolt action rifle and that's all I really need. So no one should really need that. So I don't care what happens.
Yep.
And it is the mentality that kills us. And you'll notice it especially if you're a hunter or a fisherman or outdoorsman in general, if you see that P&R money go dwindling down when they start banning certain weapon types that other people like to use, especially in the sport shooting side of things, it's like, dude, you're losing a huge chunk of your conservation money, like a huge chunk. So it's like, we really need to be in line more like with the hunting community and the 2A community. We all need to be together because like the Pittman-Robertson Act, whether you like it or not, it did bring those two worlds together and really ingrained us. So we need to support each other as well, Yeah. So
and you see it both ways. You're going to see sport hunters like, why do I have to pay 10% more, even though they're not paying it? It's the manufacturer. I guess it all trickles down anyway. But
yep,
their view on it is, how am I benefiting it from? But a lot of PR goes to public shooting ranges, goes to shooting sport related things like ranges and hunter's ed is hunter's ed, but it goes to those type of programs that cultivate more shooters, and that's why NSSF they support it, and not only support it, they champion it. And that's why the gun manufacturers, years and years ago, saw the writing on the wall. There was actually a bill that was coming up that was sponsored by a Republican senator. It had like 50 people backing it, 50 senators backing it. It was called the Return Act.
Yep.
And they were trying to remove Pittman-Robertson from the hunting, from the firearm industry and hunting world, basically. And they wanted to put it to like oil or something like that. I don't remember the exact details. Actually, when it happened, I knew it very inside and out, but I don't know it now.
As Representative Andrew Clyde, by the way.
Yeah, Clyde, exactly. And, that was a Pandora's box. That actually gave ideas to the anti-hunting community. That's what they've been looking for. They were like, oh yeah, they got as soon as you knew that Hustis was supporting that bill, you knew it was bad news, right? Yep. They were like, yeah, let's do that. you got to understand this is a user pay system.
Mm-hmm.
And your voice, like going back to what I said about earlier about the greed, your voice gets minimized, and it's little. The smaller it becomes, the less we're important to politicians and decision makers when it comes to,
mm-hmm.
and you're going to lose stuff. You're going to lose it. Like any of these acts that are coming up that are, on face value, they look great. You're like, oh, cool, more money for wildlife conservation. It's about time that, they start taxing the non-hunting public for these things. And you're like, wait a
mm-hmm.
second. But now you're giving a voice to everybody else.
Yep. Yep. Makes your voice a lot weaker when you do that.
Yep.
That's for sure.
So, yeah, I feel.
When it comes to the Return Act, I honestly, I looked at it pretty hard, and I do understand Clyde's point of view, where it's like, why are we taxing a inherent constitutional right? Like, that doesn't make sense. We don't tax any other rights like this. Like, that doesn't make sense. And he, in his defense, he was trying to figure out other ways that he can support conservation without taxing a constitutional right. So I feel like I kind of understand where he was coming from. Do I agree with it? No, because I think that would fracture the like I was saying earlier, it would definitely fracture that cohesiveness between the two groups.
Mm-hmm. Because
honestly, like, hunting by itself is pretty weak. The Second Amendment side of things, like the gun side of things, like it's honestly a lot bigger than hunting.
Sure.
And if we're all together and we're intertwined and we're linked together with this common thing, like Pittman Robertson or something like that, it's like, if we're interconnected like that, then we should have each other's backs more. I feel like when push comes to shove, but there's a constant fracturing between the two sides, it seems like, and it's bad actors really sowing that division. And it's disgusting, because we've always been, as far as I can remember, hunters and, gun guys, we've all been on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man, I love bow hunting too. And I get a little conspiracy theorist in my head a little bit about things, but sometimes I almost wonder if because there's been a huge influx in the bow hunting community, right? With, Cam Hanes and all these other awesome bow hunters out there, like, really pushing that lifestyle, which is great, because
mm-hmm.
it pushes the sport ahead as well, I feel like. But I don't know, a little piece of me almost wonders if that's another way to kind of get at the gun thing. And that's just a conspiracy theorist in my head, thinking out loud, I guess.
Yeah.
But, it does get me thinking, a little bit, where it's like, we all need to stick together and make sure that bow hunters and gun hunters and sport shooters, we're all on the same team here. And we all support each other. Because imagine if in Colorado, being kind of a split state, it's more of a swingy state, if you will, because it has Boulder and Denver and stuff when it came to the wolf thing. Imagine if all the sport shooters got involved as well. Because, like, well, we don't really like that because my buddies that hunt a lot, like, they also don't like it. So I'll do them a favor and
mm-hmm.
help and vote for it as well. Like, it would have been a resounding, like, no, like, to the wolves in Colorado thing. So, but there's kind of just a bit of a divide between the two communities. And that's one thing I love about being, like I said before, being in the position I'm at, and where hopefully I can kind of be a bridge between the two communities once it get going a little bit more. But it's like, I just want that to stick. I want hunters and shooters and everyone to really stay cohesive and get more in lockstep, like you were saying, when it comes to defending our rights and being proactive about getting more opportunities to do the things that we love.
Yeah, absolutely. And in Howl for Wildlife, we've gotten shit for not getting involved in 2A, but people don't understand. You have a mission statement, you get a approval from the IRS to have your 501c3, and you have to stay pretty much to your mission. So, like, when we formulated, it's tough if we can draw the line to wildlife, with that, we get involved in it. But because personally, there's been so many times where like, shit, man, when me and Charles are like, crap, they're trying to get this or they're trying to do that, and personally you get involved, but as an organization, you also have to stay within mission, and it's tough. Like I would love to be able to use the power of the tools that we have with Howl for Wildlife for every 2A issue that came up.
Well, so I get what you're saying. You got to stick your mission statement. I understand all that, but like SCI, like they delve into the gun conversation whenever it comes up too.
SCI has a C4.
Oh, do they? See, that's the thing. I don't really.
Yeah,
know
believe me, I learn every day. It's a freaking.
Oh, do you? Okay.
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So as a C3, you're the C3 status is like the epitome of what is tax exempt, and you make donation. If you make a donation to it, there's a tax credit for it. C4 there is not, but a C4 can get heavily involved in political things like we can't even tell you which way to vote. Like I could provide you with information, I could give you education, and I could give you the tools. But that's also why like our action center, you can change the words, you can put in your own messaging, because by law, or I'm not really sure, I know it's definitely by tax law, but I don't know by all laws here, we're not allowed to do that. We can lose our C3 status because of that. So
yeah, okay, so I get that, but I think so that's kind of my complaint with some of these conservation organizations, like I'll just name, I guess, like TRCP and BHA. That bothers me about some of those groups is I feel like maybe you don't need to do funding and act like, I guess, go as far as like funding for I guess the gun issue whenever it pops up. But it definitely doesn't hurt. Like you won't lose your C3 annotation, I guess, if you just like put shit out there, right? Like you can say whatever you want, correct? Or you have to be really careful about what you say, even, and make sure you're staying within the parameters.
It depends. Like I said, so there's been stuff that's come up that we've gotten involved in, but we've presented it from the wildlife standpoint. Like I can't think of one off the top of my head right now, but yeah.
But with PNR funding, you could spin that in order to make it a conservation issue. Sure. Make the gun issue a conservation issue as well. Correct?
Yep, absolutely. We can. Yeah. If it's easy to draw the line, then yes, we could do it.
Okay. Gotcha. And I understand.
If this goes away,
nonprofits and all that shit.
Yeah. If this goes away, we're going to lose X amount of PR funds, and that could impact this or impact that. And yes, for sure.
I guess for me personally, it's like I would love to see more cohesiveness even with conservation groups, because in my research that I've done on it, it's like PNR funding is substantial for conservation funding. And like I said, over 90% of PNR funding comes from gun sales and ammo sales. And I feel like that's a kind of a miss on some conservation organizations, that they're not delving a little bit more into the gun debate, if you will, or lending their voice.
Yeah.
And, in BHA and in BHA's defense, they did come out and they put out a thing. They updated their website and said, hey, we're, pro 2A, like we support everyone's constitutional rights, yada, yada, yada. Like, that's great. I would just love to, me personally, it'd be great to see more cohesiveness from these very influential groups like you guys, BHA, TRCP, all of them, all the conservation groups that you can think of. It'd be awesome to see a little more cohesiveness between the two sides and not make, what I mean?
Oh, I agree. I 100% agree. Do you know how powerful we would be as a unified group if sportsmen, if you talked about sport shooters, fishermen, and hunters, we would never, ever, ever lose anything.
Nope.
And
it'd be awesome.
But that's part of. I mean, let's even take away the sport shooters and the fishermen. Okay, we just did that just in the hunting community. If we had everybody unified and we were all working towards the same thing, we still wouldn't lose anything. The problem is, like we said earlier, we're our own worst enemy, and everybody's got opinion about this and opinion about that, and I don't do this, I don't hunt that, I'm a bow hunter, I'm a rifle hunter, I'm an elk hunter, I'm a deer hunter. Everybody labels themselves as something, and this is what they cling to, and nobody gives a shit about the other guy.
Yep. No, 100%.
There's
almost too many niches within the hunting community.
Yeah. Well, I think there's more than that, really, to be honest. And we're so fractured. There's so many little pockets of this and that it's like we're never going to be effective if we're all working in different directions. We can do our thing. We can have that critter group that supports elk hunting or supports sheep hunting, and we can have those things. But there also has to be a conduit from that entity to the other entity that is doing the work, And when we envisioned this, we envisioned Howl for Wildlife being like JSOC, like how all the, there's all these branches of the military and whatever that do their thing, but they report back to Central Command.
Yeah.
Not that we want to be the puppeteers. Like, I don't want to puppeteer anything, but there's one group focused on doing this, and everybody else is supporting it, and we can pass out the information and they can put it out to their membership base. And so, that would be awesome. We're actually working on a project right now, that I'm not going to get into too much, but is more centralized. We want to have the ability to mobilize quicker, to get involved. We don't want to be reactive. We want to be proactive. And I don't want to talk about it yet too much, but that is on the horizon. So
I like that. I really like that analogy. Really hits home with me. Like, I understand it 100% what you're talking about. Where it would be awesome if there's like a more centralized hub for everyone to kind of get behind, because there's not really every group, especially conservation groups. Every conservation group has its own little niche, and it'd be awesome to have one that's like broad enough to accept everybody, but also, I guess it has to be niche enough also in order to really garner support, so it's definitely a weird balancing act.
It is.
But like, everyone has, like I said, every conservation group has its own little niche it's trying to placate to or something. But it's like, that's tough. It's a tough one. It's almost like Joe Rogan, his podcast is so popular because he covers so many different avenues, but that's a tough sell, because if you're too broad, then you're not really honing in on certain niches. Some people feel a little bit unloved,
right,
and they don't support as much when it's so broad.
Yeah, but everybody should be able to get behind the fact that we're going to keep the heritage alive by going down this road. And we're going, whether that's deer hunting, bear hunting, whatever, it's still protecting what it is we love, and the wildlife and the habitat that goes with it. So it shouldn't be too hard for people to get behind. And
no, I don't.
For the most part, we've been accepted with open arms, and we've, in the beginning especially, we met some opposition, but those walls were coming down for sure. So
I know personally with everyone I talk to, because I talk to quite a few people, and whenever you guys come up as an organization, it's always been positive. It's never been, it's like there's certain groups, conservation groups out there that aren't so positive with the crew that I talk to the most, I guess. Mm-hmm. But whenever I talk to people about like Howl and stuff like that, or hear it being talked about, it's always in a positive light. So I think you guys really are doing something right with your messaging for sure. And not just your messaging, but I feel like you guys have really proper messaging, but you also follow through. You're not hiding a whole lot. You guys seem a lot more of an open book, because that's one thing you get with certain nonprofits is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but like upwards of like 80% of the money can be used for quote unquote administrative services. So some people get a little jaded with certain nonprofits when they hear these crazy stories about, funds getting squandered,
So we with Howl for Wildlife, we looked at all the rubs, so to speak. Looked at all the things that people had mistrust in and had problems with. We also looked at all the obstacles, and what we've done is we've tried to create something that was void of all those things. Super transparent. But real quick on what you were talking about. So they can use up to 80% for administrative stuff, but they're only allowed, as a 501c3, you're only allowed to use 20% of your total expenditure for advocacy.
Oh, so you're only allowed to use 20% for advocacy specifically
of your expenditure. So if you spend $100,000 a year on education, on administration, on installing water holes, whatever, you can only spend $20,000 on advocacy.
No shit. Okay. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of BS associated with being and these are all things that I'm learning as we go along. So, but
wow. Okay. That's pretty wild. But I guess I can kind of see why. But at the same time, like if you're a nonprofit, your 501c3 is kind of based on advocacy. That makes that's a kind of a tying your hands behind your back a little bit there,
Yeah. No, that's why most advocacy groups have a C4, and we might
it's a lot looser.
We might be going down that route too. So there's a lot of organizations that have both. That way you can do more things, but still, even that, there's a lot of being able to share funding from one side to the other, and people want to donate to a 501c3 so they get a tax break. If you donate to a to a C4, you don't get a tax break, and this, there's a lot of BS, a lot of stuff that ties your hands. It's almost better if you, and I brought this up when we were starting off, to be honest with you. I almost wanted to have a for-profit company. Like Change.org is a for-profit company. I could say, do whatever the hell I want without any regulation as a for-profit. Now, mind you, people are not going to get money for, tax deductions or whatever for their donations, but Change.org makes billions of dollars. They make so much money, because what people don't understand is you're not donating to the cause. You're paying Change.org to promote that petition.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that money goes to. Like when you go do a Change.org thing, like, oh, here, another $5 will amplify the voice that you think you're giving $5 to the, Save the Snipe petition, but you're really just giving $5 to Change.org to open it up to more people. So
yeah.
it's pretty tricky. And there's so much of that crap.
Interesting.
There's so much of that crap that going on.
So is Change.org, are they they're a for-profit company?
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
oh, no shit.
Yep. They're
I never even would have known
straight
that.
up company making money.
Damn, that's smart. Damn.
Yep.
Okay. I see where you're going with that, though. Like,
So-
you'd be so much more free to do, whatever you want, basically. But
Right.
obviously, then you guys would become like a taxable company as well, or
Yeah.
whatever. So you have to be paying your taxes and stuff. Because 501c3s, that's a big thing too. Is like you're nonprofit, so you don't have to pay taxes on the money that you're given. Correct?
That's the golden
The gist
goose
of
right
it.
there, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to be
Yep.
doing. But, it opens up a lot of doors.
It does.
And you're trying, as a 501c3, you have to be super transparent. And, as an NGO, whatever, you want to be transparent,
Right, because it gives trust and everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, at the end of the day, you're asking people to, especially in today's day and age when there's less and less disposable income.
Yep.
It's kind of tough to sit there and be like, hey, guys, give me this much money. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to fucking eat at 5-star dining and take a private jet everywhere. It's like, well, dude, I don't have that much money. And you say you're going to do all these good things with my money that I'm giving you, but then I see fucking John Stallone out there acting like Sylvester Stallone.
You don't see that, though. Let me tell you.
No.
Charles and I have not even taken a single dime. Have not even taken a single dime and paid ourselves even a wage.
Exactly. And that
Just,
honestly,
just for people who are wondering. So
yeah, I was saying.
Do you mind if I put
as
you on hold for a second, because I gotta my daughter's trying to help me put dinner together real quick, and she just texted me she needs my help real quick. Hold on one second.
Yeah, you're good, dude.
Thanks.
You just want to get into closing thoughts?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, closing thoughts, John. I feel like we covered quite a bit in this hour and a half as well. So I guess just if you want to go over kind of your guys' mission statement, kind of give us your pitch on Howl for wildlife and wherever it can find you, best places to get signed up and all that good stuff.
Sure. We really didn't get into the mechanism what Howl for Wildlife is, but Howl for Wildlife, the website specifically, we have tools on there that connect you, the hunter and angler, to the decision makers on policy that affects wildlife management or the ability to hunt and fish. So, if you went to the action center and you looked at an action, you'd open it up, it would educate you on all the points. And at the end of that education, you can put in your name and your email, and the system will send an email from you to all the decision makers on that policy. And it's randomized. We upload anywhere from a couple hundred to a couple thousand different variations of the email. So it's not like a canned email. Like if you go to a different organization's action center, they will send a letter from that organization to your one legislator, which may or may not have anything to do with that policy at all. And it'll be an email like, on behalf of so-and-so organization and our 50,000 members, John Stallone agrees with this statement. And that's not very effective, unfortunately. So what we've done is we've created the easy button. It really takes, if you don't want to educate yourself and read through the thing, you just like, hey, I trust that you guys are, and you could just put your name and your email in there, and you can literally be done in 30 seconds. It's super easy. And, going back to what we were talking about earlier, well, let me continue with that. We we created several different membership packages. We tried to create value where, like, with partners like Go Hunt, like, so if you want to use Go Hunt Insider, you can go and purchase a Go Hunt Insider subscription from Howl for Wildlife, and Go Hunt, as one of our partners, gives us money every time, and you get a full subscription, plus you get the Howl for Wildlife membership included. So, like, it behooves you not to go to Howl for Wildlife to buy your subscription. So you're supporting Howl for Wildlife. You're getting more bang for your buck. There's special giveaways with it, stuff like that. So there's a lot of those things. Like, you can join Pope and Young, American Bear Foundation through Howl for Wildlife and support both for the same price it would cost you to go get a Pope and Young membership. Like, so there's stuff in there like that. We've also created a free membership. Like, you just want to be involved, but you can't spend money right now, whatever. We're the only organization that allows you to get involved as a member without taking your money. I didn't want to tell people, hey, if you don't want to give me $30 a year, you can't speak up. You can't get involved. Because that's crazy. So we've done, we broke molds by doing that. There's a lot of, like, exclusivity deals where, this gun manufacturer or this, name brand or whatever would work with a organization, and that organization would promote that to their member base, and they would in turn get funding for it. We don't do that. We want, just and I was talking about our memberships, we deal with Go Hunt, we deal with OnX, they have their competitors in the industry, but we're trying to show the unity. We all, like,
right.
Hey, out there on the street, Sika and Kuyu, you guys are mortal enemies or whatever, But when you're in the sanctum of Howl for Wildlife, you guys, we're all on the same page. We're all conservationists. We're all trying to save hunting and fishing, and so that's the messaging that we're putting out there. And what I want, I'm going to leave this with your listeners. What I want you guys to do is I want you to go out there, educate yourself on the model of excuse me. My God, I can't speak. This is what happens when it's too late in the day. On the model of wildlife conservation, North American model of wildlife conservation. Educate yourself on that. And I want you to think long and hard about why you hunt and if it were to go away. But I also want you to think about all the human things about hunting, the intrinsic values, the things that are important to you about hunting, and formulate a 2-minute like dialogue about that. And I want you to start talking to people that you know. We all know people. We all touch people on a daily basis that don't know anything about hunting, and your coworkers, whatever, and start having conversations with them. It was like you were saying earlier. If I have a conversation with somebody and I tell them, these are the things I love about hunting. These are the meals I make. This is the camaraderie. This is, where the money goes. This is what happens with wildlife. And the reason why you can go hiking in the woods and the reason why you can access that trail on your mountain bike is because of it. They understand these things. Then when stuff comes up in the ballot, they're going to be more sympathetic to you and not to what they're seeing propaganda-wise. So do that. Start talking to people. But educate yourself first, because the last thing we want is people to go out there and be like, this is my right, just and also we don't want the wrong information getting out there. So it's important that you become a well-rounded, understand what conservation means, what hunting means to wildlife, and once you feel comfortable in that, then you start having those conversations. And I promise you that's going to go a long way in the future. So other than that, go to howlforwildlife.org, become a member, support us. If you want to get involved in the Colorado thing, and I think you should, Like I said, we're all connected. If you go to SaveTheHuntColorado.com, that money is going to the tip of the spear, which is Coloradoans for Responsible Wildlife Management. They are running point on that. That's Dan Gates that I told you should have him on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's in a nutshell, I guess.
Perfect. That is perfect, John. I really appreciate you coming on and explaining all that stuff and talking with me. I think me personally, I've been following you guys for quite a while, and I'm not gonna lie, I did the free stuff on Howl, so I get you guys' emails and stuff, and I fill it out when it's relevant for sure, but I should be doing it a lot more than I am. So I do appreciate you coming on and explaining all that to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes, sir. All right. We'll let you out of here then.
Have a good one.
Yep, you too.
Bye.